Zvolen Castle, where history lives. Zvolen Castle is not just an ancient monument in the heart of Slovakia. It is a place where history itself comes alive. Here you can walk through corridors once crossed by kings and breathe in the spirit of the Middle Ages. The castle was built in the 14th century by Louis the Great, King of Hungary. Inspired by the elegance of Italian palaces of the time, it looked nothing like a typical grim fortress. Instead, Zvolen Castle resembled a refined residence with defensive elements, a unique blend of comfort and strength. One of the most important events in its early history took place in 1385, when Queen Mary married Emperor Sigismund within its walls. This royal wedding forever tied Zvolen Castle to the broader history of Central Europe. The times of peace, however, did not last long. In the 16th century, the region faced the looming threat of Ottoman invasions. The castle was fortified with bastions, cannon batteries, and thick defensive walls, transforming it into a key stronghold of the kingdom's defense system. Over the centuries, the castle changed hands many times. Noble families and military commanders each left their mark. Some focused on strengthening its defenses, others adorned its interiors, while a few turned it into a true seat of power. As the centuries passed, the castle's military role diminished. By the 18th century, its halls served more mundane purposes, as a prison and a storage space. The royal splendor gave way to daily routine, and the castle's grandeur began to fade. By the 19th century, Zvolen Castle was on the brink of ruin. Yet even then, efforts to preserve it had already begun. In the 20th century, extensive restorations revived its former beauty, highlighting both Gothic and Renaissance elements. The Castle Chapel. A special place in the history of Zvolen Castle belongs to its chapel. Originally built in the Gothic style, it was considered a remarkable structure of its time. Some scholars even compare it to the magnificent Sainte-Chapelle in Paris. The chapel was divided into two levels. The lower floor, accessible from the courtyard, resembled a three-aisled hall with ribbed vaulting. The upper floor, connected to the royal chambers, featured the main portal through which the nobility entered. According to 18th century descriptions, the two levels were linked by an opening in the vaulting, making the design even more unusual. In 1784, however, the chapel was given a Baroque-Classical makeover, almost completely concealing its original medieval forms. For centuries, scholars debated what the Gothic structure had truly looked like. During the 1990 to 1994 restoration, the chapel was again transformed. Its Baroque classical character was carefully preserved, but fragments of its Gothic heritage were revealed for the public. Today, visitors can admire this rare dialogue between architectural epochs. Most remarkably, the chapel is still alive today. In addition to being part of the museum and an architectural monument, it also hosts regular Orthodox services. Thus, it remains not only a historical treasure, but also a living spiritual center of Zvolen. The exhibitions. One of the castle's greatest treasures is its permanent exhibition, Gothic Art. This collection introduces visitors to an extraordinary array of medieval sculpture and painting from the 14th to the 16th centuries. In both scope and focus, it is unique in Slovakia. The castle halls contain more than 80 original sculptures and paintings. The exhibition does not attempt to show only the masterpieces. Instead, its goal is to present as many authentic artifacts as possible from the collections of the Slovak National Gallery. Visitors can also see reproductions of iconic works by the renowned master Paul of Levoča, Slovakia's greatest Gothic sculptor. The exhibition is closely tied to the identity of the castle itself, one of the largest medieval castles in the country and a central landmark of the so-called Gothic route of central Slovakia. The first hall welcomes visitors with rare wall paintings from the late 15th century. These are preserved fragments transferred from the old parish church of Zvolen, and today they are valued even in the international art community. Of course, a special section is dedicated to Master Paul of Levocha, the most famous sculptor of the early 16th century. Here you can find replicas of his celebrated works, created for world exhibitions in Brussels, 1958, and Montreal, 1967. The exhibition is more than just a meeting with authentic Gothic art. It invites visitors to reflect on the many forms and functions of cultural heritage, on the ways it is preserved and reinterpreted, and on why protecting it for future generations is so essential. Zvolen Castle, today. Today, Zvolen Castle is recognized as a national monument of Slovakia. Within its halls, the Slovak National Gallery houses an impressive collection of European art, including works by Rubens, Veronese, Hogarth, and other great masters. Visitors are especially drawn to the Royal Hall with its Gothic vaults, and the Knights Hall, where concerts, theater performances, and cultural events are held. Every summer, the castle courtyard hosts the famous Zvolen Castle Plays, a lively festival that gathers artists and audiences from across the country.
But the castle is not only about history and art. Weddings, exhibitions, workshops, lectures, and modern art projects regularly bring new life to its walls. Zvolen Castle has become a true cultural heart of the city and the entire region. For tourists, it is a chance to step into the past, to feel the atmosphere of the Middle Ages, and at the same time, to witness how ancient walls continue to live, filled with new meaning. That is what makes Zvolen Castle truly unique. It does not merely preserve memory. It connects past and present, becoming a living symbol of Slovakia.